other part is just quirky lawyer doing shit tropes. I don't know. The acting's good at least.
That's good.
The Modular Components is a podcast that we do, and I guess we're doing it right now. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm the Vacuuminator, and I'm feeling much better this week, though I probably sound a little bit congested. Buster Corp.
Oh, hi, it's me.
Do I sound congested?
A little, but not like to a, I'm worried about you.
Oh, cool. Sick. Because I listened back to last week's episode, and I sounded like I was dying. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I was like...
Ian's episode sounded like that.
Yeah, I was super worried about you last week, but like, no, you're better now. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll have Ian back on at some point for a makeup. But, you know, somebody who gets to make up every week for their bullshit is Boingo Rider.
Hey, my bullshit is hilarious, and people love me.
Unfortunately, that's true. But we do also have a special guest this week, somebody who has been kind of doing a bit of a takeover on Modular Media the last few weeks, is finally made their way to Modular Components to hang out and chat about whatever the fuck. Tim Shields is here.
Hello, I am also on my bullshit.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, D23 happened and the Queen died, so what the hell are we gonna mean?
Nothing, because Splatoon 3's out, baby!
Oh, they made a Splatoon 3?
Yeah, it came out this week. I've been playing it. It's fun.
They had to continue the story, Vac.
And
Splatoon has a story?
Yeah, there's an actual story mode in it.
I was under the impression that it was a mindless shooter.
I mean...
That's the main point of it, but there is a story mode that is...
very deep. It deals with the aftermath of the end of the world.
Also with racism? Between Octolings and Squid people?
Like in Splatoon 3, you can pick an Octoling, so I assume the meds have been a bit like...
Well, that's what I mean. Like, the second one was all about that, because he played the second DLC expansion pack.
Yeah, had like Octo expansion stuff. Yeah.
Where it was all like, yo, you're an Octoling. Hey, help!
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a fun game.
It's mostly just to keep the game relevant with online play, because people pay money for it.
Yeah, we have to pay.
Cool.
You have to pay. And honestly, I don't think I like the online play. The modes are great, but like the connection stuff needs some work still.
That's Nintendo for you.
Yeah. I don't think rollback would work for shooters. But like maybe
Sir, you say that rollback was invented for shooters.
Oh, okay. Is rollback in Splatoon 3? Let me Google this.
Probably not. Remember,
Nintendo. Yeah.
Like a conservative Japanese company is only thinking about online connectivity in Japan, and delay-based netcode works 90% of the time, so they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Plus, there's also the aspect of there's not a ton of Japanese developers who are really knowledgeable about rollback netcode.
Yeah, we're starting to get there. Arc System Works and Bandai Namco are starting to get there.
Oh, yeah. I really like how whenever video games get brought up, this just turns into a poor man's No More Games, and the rest of us are left to wonder why we even come here.
Bruh.
Well, no, it's not even that. I mean, I think that it's an interesting discussion. Like, I think that Nintendo's priority has always been less on action-oriented games and more on, like, simple platformers, RPGs. So it makes sense in that context why they would do that, but they've unfortunately expanded into the biggest Japanese company, right? So
yeah, and also Splatoon's just like, it's blown up a lot since it came on Switch, so...
Right, and I think that once you hit that international scale, you kind of have to reprioritize a little bit. You know, we're not really in the link cable era anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's as an excuse. It's a critique on Japanese technology and how they operate and corporate structure in general. It's like, no, because delay-based netcode was kind of developed in America and the West and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So in order to really start implementing it, a lot of Japanese companies would have to, import someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. Right. And they don't want to.
And there's like also a thing about pride initially, like in the early 2010s when like we were starting into like the PS4 era of games, like everyone, all the Japanese companies were like piping everyone up like, we're making our own engine. Like Square Enix was doing Crystalis engine for Final Fantasy 15. And as much as I like 15, That engine sucks, and I hate that's being reused for Forspoken, aka the game that got Joss Whedon trending on Twitter.
There's an actual phenomenon with it. Maximilian Dudes talked about it a couple times. Where basically,
that's what I was referencing.
Yeah. Where basically, if a Japanese company doesn't make it themselves, it's no, don't worry, don't bother with it because we didn't make it.
Right.
It's a thing about pride.
It's about pride, but it's also about like if you want to be like they aren't gonna make money off the engine. Well, if they made the engine, they could make more money off of it because they don't have to pay any licensing fees, or they could license it out themselves.
Yeah.
Or it's just the fact that it's not a Japanese engine. We don't want your sneaky American engine.
Yeah, and also because Unreal was like there was the tools were translated in Japanese, like properly translated Japanese for a bit, from what I heard. It wasn't until like mid 2015, 2016. I could be wrong though. So.
Well, I mean that also adds to like other aspects of like KOF 14, not Unreal. It was on its own bespoke engine. KOF 15, it's Unreal.
Yeah. Which like it does like what that story does line up with all those like every fighting game and game switching to Unreal. Anyway, we should probably talk about like what the guest. We should probably introduce.
Yeah, Tim, what the hell do you do? You need to introduce yourself to people. I should have had you do that earlier. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, I run ZAIA America, obviously, and the more successful Amatsu Janaito Twitter account. I make memes. I do. Primarily analytical deep dives into tokusatsu as a medium, and now I make stop motion, which I'm really happy with.
Sick.
Yeah, that was something that I was always really into as a kid, but I never had like resources. So I never had like a camera or anything. So I would always have to steal my sister's in order to just make little like kaijus fighting Veritex, that sort of thing. Transformers, battles, stuff like that.
I mean, as a kid, I always thought stop motion was really neat, but I just knew I wouldn't have the patience for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's a nightmare. I had to take like 421 pictures for that little like minute and a half sketch that I did the other day. But then you see the final product after you get it all edited and like especially voiced. Like I'm really happy that people in the community are jumping onto the idea of voicing their like favorite riders. That's something that I had wanted to be a part of it. It's a good way to like give a little spotlight to people that aren't necessarily going out of their way or have the time or resources like me to make their own content to still be a part of the process, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like that's mostly my thing. I just talk about tokusatsu and I make tokusatsu.
So you're living the dream is what I'm hearing here.
Yeah, we're getting there. The Patreon's been picking up, which is great. I went out to get some more sets with the payoff for this month, which was really nice. Unfortunately, the store was out of pink foam, so I'm not really driving like 60 miles to go get more yet. But once it restocks, I'll have some new buildings going around. I'm working on some Saber dioramas right now, so I can start using that cast. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm just curious about the pink foam shortage. What's going on?
Oh, well, we're heading into winter, so people are actually trying to insulate their houses, the heathen.
But why pink foam?
Because that's what it's made for.
Oh, okay.
People just use it for crafting and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not actually what it's for.
Yeah, no, in theater, when we were making sets and stuff, we use pink foam all the time.
Exactly.
Because it's a closed cell foam.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You can
great density. It cuts really well.
Right. And you can
it
burn
takes
it with
paint
torches.
beautifully.
Right, yeah. Especially if you like coat stuff in Mod Podge, for like 3 layers, you can just do spray paint onto stuff, which makes everything so much easier. And like they sell, there's a thing called a Proxon, which is a hot wire cutter that allows you to make like super precise angular cuts and straight cuts and stuff. Like the technology has come a million years in my lifetime. And it really made the whole medium accessible, I think, in a way that it never really was before.
Yeah, when we were using the foam for sets and everything, we just used a fucking hot knife.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
literally, you plug in a knife into a wall socket. It was made to do so. It's not some jerry rig shit.
Right.
And it just would
right.
get hot, and you just go.
Yeah, it just glides right through. Yeah, I have a hot wire cutter that has like a bunch of interchangeable heads. One's like a pen, so you can just draw into it. Like it's crazy, and like it's surprisingly low effort. You can get like a really good diorama done in like a day if you just sit down and have a day to fixate on it. So like the turnover on it is really incredible. That's like the dream, though, is that one day I'll just get like 3 big panels and just decorate the hell out of them and have like a dedicated back wall for sets,
I mean, I just enjoy making things.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
all of us do. I think that's the entire reason we started this.
Well,
Exactly,
yeah, I like I've shown some of y'all guys props and stuff I've made.
That's dope. Yeah,
Hold on, maybe I can. I mean, back in Busto, I don't think I can try and find something real quick because you do a whole class in theater. I was doing technical theater, so you would do a whole class on prop making.
Right. Yeah, no, I actually took a year of tech theater. They wanted me to do Sweeney Todd, and I was like, I feel like the experience of working backstage as like an assistant director type thing would be more beneficial to me in the long run than just like a 14th year of acting.
Yeah, that's a Tengu mask I made.
Take a look here. Oh, nice. That's
That
sick.
looks pretty good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the other big thing I built.
Yeah,
because
large nose. They're very honkable nose.
It's also reminiscent of a penis.
I mean, you could say that, but like,
That's what it is.
I don't
Like
care.
that's the origin point of stuff like that.
I don't
Buster,
care
close your
though.
eyes wide shut. You don't need to hear this.
I don't care. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to live.
Are you though?
Yeah.
Live and let die.
I feel like
I don't know. I'm just
you're ignoring one of the best aspects of life, which is
What?
horniness.
the only thing I'm ignoring is these nuts. Haha.
What do nuts create, Buster?
Balls.
What do balls create, Buster?
I'm not.
Protein.
They make
You're
a form of-
technically right, Tim.
Yeah. For either one, too.
Do not use this to transition into the Mickey Mouse.
No. My transition is well past me, actually.
Yeah.
Bobby!
Oh God, Mickey Mouse himself has infiltrated the theater.
Hey,
Fuck
Mickey,
you, Bobby! Copyright assist!
how do you feel about being almost 100 years old and therefore about to fall into the public domain?
Who says I'm gonna fall into the public domain?
24. I'm well on record as being 24, and I don't appreciate the slander, and I will be contacting my lawyers.
I don't know. Man, who cares about the Disney 100th anniversary when it's Power Rangers Operation Overdrive's 15th anniversary next year?
I would rather kill myself than celebrate anything related to Operation Overdrive.
God dang.
I mean, we can arrange this.
Alright.
Yeah, people really don't like that one.
Not good.
It was the first one I watched, so I have a bit of a bias, and I just downloaded it all on my laptop, and I plan to watch it soon, so I'm like...
You started with Operation Overdrive.
No, the Once a Ranger episode specifically.
How the hell did you become a fan?
I liked it. And also Jungle Fury. Jungle Fury was my first full series. Operation Overdrive was my first episodes,
There we go. That's the chair I built.
Oh, you build chairs?
I can build chairs.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, go build some bitches. Haha.
I mean, there are several bitches who enjoy carpentry.
Oh my god.
That's really awesome.
I turned all the wood myself on a lathe. Like anything that was like circular.
That's awesome. Good for you. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, that's the sort of shit where I'm like, I can do that with foam, but I would not be able to do that with wood,
It's a
Like,
lot of just like knowing how to manipulate it. So like turning it's just like making sure you have a good piece of stock, it's square, and you spin it real fast and then you chip away at it.
Yeah.
But if you're like the headpiece and the lower back piece, that are on the back. They're curved pieces of wood. So what it did was like took like the thin plywood that we had like some extra from, because all of that was made. I think I maybe used like 2 pieces of stock wood. The rest of it was just scrap.
Yeah.
But it took some scrap plywood stuff, got it wet, glued. They were thin, so I glued like 2 or 3 of them together, and I just set a weight on them, like put it on 2 things, set a weight so it had a curve, and I just showed up the next day, and it's like sick.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's all about manipulation.
The thing about tokusatsu, I think, is figuring out clever workarounds to having like minimal resources and budget. You know?
Oh yeah, I swear to God, Robert Rodriguez, old school Robert Rodriguez, should have done a tokusatsu.
Like El Mariachi.
I mean, those Mandalorian episodes he directed are kind of tokusatsu. That's true.
I'd say there's more of an argument for Spy Kids.
Yeah, 100%.
I would say there's as much of an argument for Desperado.
Yeah.
Maybe Sin City, but I don't like thinking about Sin City.
To be fair, like I just made that whole video about Kamen Rider being a Western, so like admittedly my view on tokusatsu is a little skewed.
I was gonna ask, you have one of the most general views of tokusatsu I've seen of any tokutubers out as a creator on here, and kind of what is the vision you wish to portray more so than anything? Because it's really interesting watching your video, seeing how general you can get, but it's also something that I think can be off-putting to a lot of the people who just see tokusatsu as henshin hero.
Well, to answer your first question, fucking Godzilla, of course. My mom got me into Godzilla very early, and it was a quick skip and a hop over to stuff like Super Inframan, Ultraman. Power Rangers was just, blowing up into the massive sensation that it sort of became. So I was along for that whole ride. Mortal Kombat was around. They were doing live action shows and stage plays. Pokemon had a stage play. And I had always grown up. My mom's an English professor. So I'd always grown up very surrounded by theater and like stage, and I would do theater camps and stuff. But I think probably around high school when I started taking like actual film classes and going into the history of how everything developed into what, everything stands as today, the modern iterations and the readaptations and subversions and everything, like that's where it became really interesting to me, because it all starts to fall into this gray area because everybody's, picking up ideas and discarding ideas and blending genres. And I think that when I found Kamen Rider was really when that all clicked together, because I feel like Kamen Rider, more than any other like established tokusatsu franchise, really leans into the allegorical aspect of gray morality and like social politic, which are 2 other things that I'm hugely interested in. So it seemed like a natural overlap. As for my philosophy as a creator, primarily I see a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people express this to me, because I've been doing this for like 3 years just over on Facebook. A lot of people express to me that they have trouble articulating the themes and the concepts that they're resonating with in these shows beyond like a lore level and, into that next step of allegory and metaphor and everything and symbolism. So the idea of my videos is, for this first year, I'm establishing a sort of foundational syllabus, breaking down the themes and philosophies of like foundational creators, Subaraya, Shotaro Ishinomori, and how those transformed over time. So a lot of it is film history. But I think that by walking people through the logic of how I break down all of this stuff into a digestible and accessible format, it helps to help an audience develop those critical thinking skills for themselves, and also take more away from the media that we all love, which like that's win-win, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bro, you're speaking to the fucking choir. That's my whole point with the Geek series I want to do. It's just
I feel like that's everybody's whole point in the tokusatsu creator community, and we're all we're all basically on the same page when it comes to that, and that's fantastic to see.
I think a lot of tokusatsu creators tend to have this attitude of, no, this is more deep than you think it is.
Yeah, and I mean
that's
a lot of us
true
are
for
at
most art.
which I think is a big thing. Because a lot of us, fall into disenfranchised minority groups. A lot of us are Black or people of color or women or queers or autistics or neurodivergents, and we see ourselves represented in very humanized roles because of that gray morality.
Yeah.
I have a friend on my timeline right now that's really into Gremlin from Wizard, and I'm like, you know what? He's a serial killer, but I kind of get what you mean,
Interesting.
Yeah, I
sorry,
think I get what you mean. Like to put it in like not English, but like a more like quote unquote simpler terms is like kind of like
You might be linking for
like it's just like kind of Kamen Riders like kind of like the Toku like Henshin Hero as a whole can be seen as kind of like the freaks and geeks or something. I don't know. Like I'm just that's just what pops in my head.
That's what genre fiction's all about, though. Is always it's always that it's always a layer of basically storytelling irony over top like real things.
Yeah.
Like,
well, like even more, I'd argue like Kamen Rider maybe just because it isn't as popular as the other stuff. Like I'm interested, it's just even more of that kind of subsection. Like you get even nicher with it.
I mean, in America, sure, but in Japan, he's Captain America.
Yeah,
Kamen Rider's Captain America. Like those themes aren't. They are not as hyper specific as that could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
I mean, literally, I would say Kamen Rider Ichigo is basically Japanese Kamen Rider, a Japanese Captain America, a dude manipulated by science, who decides to use his powers and abilities to protect others and fight fascism.
I think that that's especially poignant of a comparison in the context of Ichigo as Shotaro Ishinomori deconstructing his feelings on so many of his countrymen falling to poverty and just overall weird shit during World War II. There was this grand betrayal of this national promise of allying with the Nazis that it's very clear that he's trying to work out through the story of Ichigo and Hayato and their rebellion against Shocker, who are a Nazi group at the end of the day. That's canon,
Yeah,
it's really fascinating.
I made a video a while ago. I need to re-look at it and like re-articulate my feelings because I didn't articulate them well. Where I kind of was like, it was a video about Gaiam where I was like, I don't like Gaiam because I feel like it betrays the core concept of being a Kamen Rider, which is ultimately anti-fascist and anti-authoritarian.
See, that's interesting because I feel like that's the point because it's Gen Urobuchi and all he does is write deconstructionist works. I don't feel like there is a protagonist in Gaim. I feel like it's a story about how men are shitty and they will seize the opportunity to seize power. And, that all spirals into stuff like the parallels with the Sengoku era, where the monarchs would have the geishas both perform propaganda pieces for them and become their concubines, like we see with Mai, like we see with the Beat Riders, the exploitation of the lower class by Yggdrasil, the reigning capitalist oligarchy,
Yeah, I would agree if the main character wasn't spouting ideals the whole time. If he was more with the flow, I would agree. But the fact that he was attempting something feels like it becomes a tragedy, and in that way, it's not a good end,
But
I just didn't like it because it wasn't about a nice magic user fighting depression for me.
But that's my thing. How many politicians have fallen that exact same way? Does absolute power not corrupt absolutely, as we saw with Kaido earlier?
My big critique of that is it's doing bad Superman. All right, cool. You've done you've done bad Superman. Here's 50,000 more of them. Congratulations, you did the lowest common denominator.
But it's doing bad Superman as a direct allegory for the actual political upheaval of the transition from the Sengoku era to the modern-day Meiji era and how the Japanese politic has stagnated, resulting in figures like Shinzo Abe apologizing on behalf of his father for war crimes that the people that he has victimized haven't accepted, and we all saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my thing about Gaim, I don't, from what I heard, this is a very, like, weird take on Gaim. I thought, like, the ending was, like, Kota basically, like, everyone has said, like, Kota kind of pisses off. I didn't, maybe because it's the subtitles I was using. I didn't read it as such. I read it as more, hey, like, Kota just basically takes on all of the, like, he helps, like, basically takes on all the sin, all the Yggdrasil bullshit, all the Invis stuff, and just like yeets them to his own safe haven, and he basically just like, and then he doesn't start the cycle over again. Well, I could be completely wrong.
But the cycle does get started over again. That's my issue with the story.
I don't think it
That's what I
does.
think is the beauty of Gaim is that you can read it literally as a very straightforward and frankly toxic hero story, or Kota has drained the resources and protection of every person that has allied him in his fight, and he has appointed an enemy general to rule over the people in this new little serf that he's created for himself, which, by the way, is what we saw happen at the end of the Sengoku era, by the way.
I can kind of buy both. I can buy both.
Ultimately, I do think that's my big feeling with Gaim is it's like, okay, cool, you did bad Superman. Like, sweet. Like, we haven't seen these kind of storytelling elements before.
I'd argue I argue that kind of bad Superman trope has like quote unquote been even more popularized in recent years with stuff like the Amazon Prime stuff.
Like Brightburn and stuff, yeah. My argument would be, I think that it has a lot more depth to it. The more you look back into the events that it's referencing and the progression of, or lack of progression of Japanese politics. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can read it two ways, and I think both of those are technically valid, you know?
Yeah. My thing at the end of the day is that, like, Kamen Rider is always supposed to be a hero. And like, even if he does do like questionable things, like he always ends up doing something heroic. And I
then
just
why
don't.
We have soccer riders.
Oh no, like the main writer.
I think Buster's hitting on something though that connects to my feelings. Is Kamen Rider is a intertextuality series. There is hypertext, there is metatextual understandings of Kamen Rider. And it's really fucking weird to have Fruit Jesus show up and go like, hey, dude driving a car, let me help you out. That ultimately colors the context of the show.
I think that that's kind of the point, though, is that nobody questions the messages of the media that they're consuming. Like, it's the same thing that he did with Madoka Magica and Fate Zero, where he said, hey, what if this, except actually it sucks, and the watermelon kicks Kota off of a waterfall and he gets PTSD for like 10 episodes? Because then he also realizes that he murdered his best friend in episode 1. Like, he jumps into the role of being a hero, but he's not an adult. He's a child regressing into his high school clique. He's hanging out with little kids. Like, it's very strange, and I like that about it.
I can see, and like, again, like, I have a... I think we're all this legit, like, I don't know. I don't know.
Again, I don't think that either of these takes are wrong. I think it's very much
just being able to articulate and argue your points.
Yeah,
this guy sucks. I agree. I agree at the end of the day that I don't think that Kota is a good hero. I just feel like that was intentional, and that goes a long way to bridging that gap for me, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I do think, like, what I was going to mention about the bad evil Superman thing, or just like, those stories can be compelling. It's just like the timing is also like time of release. Is there's so many of these things, and we kind of need the good. We've barely had any like the true heroic Superman.
Well, we had Forza, we had W, we had Wizard.
I'm talking about the Western stuff.
Superman.
That's what I'm saying. Is I think that it's a cultural thing. Like, I think with the Japanese historical context, with a culture that is. With a franchise that hasn't really dipped that far into the What If Superman was Evil franchise, I think it's a lot more exceptional than, you know, a Brightburn, you know, where it's just like, what if we don't even have the Superman license and we just did a fucking evil Superman movie right after, like, Man of Steel and BBS, which were already really contentious? Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I wasn't. I'm kind of like talking media in general rather than just focusing on Kamen Rider.
No, I totally feel you. I get where you're coming from. I don't feel the same way, but I do understand how you would get that read, and I don't disagree with it. You know?
Yeah, and I'm not really like. I feel like we all like a lot of people like these days are trying to like be like, oh, like my opinion's the most important. My opinion's like king, and then they'll just like, yeah, we could like question each other for like very weird takes, especially takes that like are rooted in weird like bigotry. But I feel like we need to like just takes like this where just different interpretations, like I'm gonna say harmless interpretations of art, but like you still
that's the whole point of Kamen Rider is you talk to other people and get new perspective on stuff.
Yeah, and it's
the
like
whole part of art.
Yeah. And it's just and it's just pissing me off to see all these people basically be super aggressive with their opinions, or like they revel in the negativity. It just, I don't know. Basically, I've grown out of that like whole like angry reviewer clique.
It's a Skinner box. It's like, I get angry, I get response. Good me, you know?
Yeah, that's a good simile. Yeah.
You know, you can say, I'm going to say this outlandish thing, but you know.
Outrage culture. Yeah.
That's why, Buster, I always say on this podcast and other podcasts is like, if you have an opinion, you need to like show it from the source. You need to be able to articulate your opinion, or else you're just shooting from the hip, and then what? You're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like you need to back it up with like, it's like, okay, let's talk about Superman, you know?
I got you. So Steve Martin, I think, said it best when he said, have a point, it makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Yeah, it's like, don't just say, oh, this thing is bad. Like, no, this thing is bad because I find the cinematography lackluster and mediocre, or so on and so forth.
Yeah. And that's a big part of why I'm trying to educate about film and stuff, is I want people to have those resources.
And not everyone can have that, like, art.
Deal with math, you know? But, like, I got those 2 years of film classes, and by God, I'm going to fucking distribute them for free.
YouTube has been a grand equalizer for
really
both good and bad for art and art critique, because, like, you can find so many great critiques and critical responses and analysis of any kind of art. Oh no, you can find any critique and analysis for any kind of art.
Yeah. Especially those rooted in god-awful bigotry. I know I keep talking about that, but I'm so sick of all these, like, outrage people who, like, get clicks and, like, do not... I think especially because I am now starting to climb up the ranks of YouTube, so seeing those people, like, get, like, you know, like, those bigotry, those awful takes and stuff, and, like... That makes me even more pissed than before.
Like MCU?
Yeah, those people. I don't want to name them specifically, but you know what I mean.
I'll say it. Quartering report.
Yeah.
I will never forgive MatPat for what he did to Handsome Jack.
He what?
I'll never forgive Pat for giving Undertale to the Pope.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
Savage Books is pretty good. I've been watching a lot of his videos today.
Oh, nice.
Oh wait, Boygo, I think did I tell you about the Sands versus? Yeah, I did tell you about the Sands versus Reagan. That was like, and that happened the day before. Like, I felt like, like Twitter was like, you like this is like the most fun event you've had. Well, screw you. I'm about to let's make a death of a historical figure to like make everything worse. I don't know. The universe just felt like you can't have nice things on Twitter.
I feel like that made everything better.
Yeah, it kind of did, but like you also you got those takes. You know,
we'll just say it like this: you don't see the Irish or the Indian or the Scottish or the Welsh or the Australians or the New Zealands complaining. So
yeah, we'll leave it at that. Yeah, legit. And also, I voted Sands, so just want to make that.
That's good to know.
Just want to. I was on the winning team.
Tim, you got your start on Facebook?
Yeah, I have like 5,250 followers, something like that.
How did that whole thing come about, and what is that like?
What's up?
How did that whole running a Facebook page about Tokusatsu come about, and what is that actually like? Because I haven't gone too deep into the Toku community over there.
I like Tokusatsu, but I noticed that all of the groups were really fucked up and gross. So I was like, hey, I'm going to hang out in one of these, go undercover, like when Takashi Miike made Zebraman 2 and he went undercover with Nazis so that he would know how to make effective propaganda for his trans allegory. And I was like, suddenly I'm going viral every day. I should make a Wizard Core page. And then one of my friends made a Wizard Core page with one of my memes. And I was like, well, fuck. So So then Gaiamatsu walked into my life, and I was like, oh, that's like the physical ideal. And everybody was changing their names to presented by ZAIA, as a suffix. And he had this cool ass fucking driver, and it was gold, and it goes presented by ZAIA at the end, and it's so corporate and cyberpunk dystopia. And I was like, oh, I'm in love. Oh, I'm gonna make a spin page for him, okay? And it's gonna be every episode, like I reshift the narrative to talking about how Guy was secretly right, and like I'm gonna spin it so that it seems like he's the protagonist. And then I got
you just ended up believing that.
I got like 14 episodes in, and I was like, oh fuck, he's actually just right. Oh no. Oh no, Aruto's just an asshole. And then Yu Takahashi saw my blog, and he was like, huh,
Oh my
you're
god.
right. I'm gonna fix this for the movies, and also I'm gonna give Guy a skateboard, which is one of exclusively your memes. So and also I'm gonna make ZAIA an American company. And I was like, I accept this, and he was like, and also I'm gonna kill him off because I fear him. And I'm like, that's correct. You should respect and fear me, Yuya Takahashi. So that's basically it. Is I just got on there and I just started spitting critical takes, like the last episode of Wizard being Haruto dealing with his underworld finally that he's been living with and using the power from all series. Like nobody ever puts that together.
Wait, which last episode of Wizard? The decade one or the story
crossover that everybody's like, oh, it comes out of nowhere. It focuses on legacy in this series about a guy going through the stages of grief. Like, oh, what's this about? And I'm like, well,
even then, it's like an epilogue, and it's like it's just an epilogue to kind of like if you actually watch it, it's like, yeah, there's those legacy elements, but it's also just like Haruto like kind of coming to terms with what happened in the story finale, which Levi's tried to do, but like it didn't quite land.
It's Haruto for the first time ever realizing that he has a future to consider and a life to consider and a legacy to leave behind that extends beyond his duties to Koyomi.
Yeah.
It's his liberation from his personal hell. Yeah. Like, it's so good. Anyway, so I just started putting out a bunch of shit like that and making like figure comics and memes and shit, and then everybody started following me, so that was cool. That was very validating.
At what point did you decide to migrate to Twitter?
Oh geez, that's a tough one. I had like a group with like 3,500 people that got shut down overnight because we got raided by a racist page because somebody who wasn't even like an admin said that blackface was bad one time. That was probably the beginning of the end of my time at Facebook. But most of the people aren't fucking clicking on any of my videos over there, and Facebook seems to be like burying any external links. So I've kind of been popping off on Twitter. Like I've had a lot of memes going to like the thousands. And
I mean that's how I found you. I don't know if it was Buster or someone else, but somehow one of your memes got retweeted onto my timeline, and I was like,
a lot of people. Well, this is good. Like it to Twitter anyway, so I was like, well, fuck, why don't I just capitalize on that? I'm a ZAIA page. After 01 ended, I sort of rebranded into Fantastic Bookstore Kamiyama for a while. I'm the second Google result, by the way.
They just announced the Genom special, what? The Genom, it's Kamen Rider Outsiders, Toei Tokusatsu, like Genom's 3, with Genom, Oja, whoa, this...
What the hell? Buster!
My boy!
And D-Sast is there?
Hell yeah, he is!
Who the fuck is D-Sast?
Saber!
Motherfucker, he's Ren's boyfriend!
Oh! Well...
And Ren is here too? Whoa, my God.
This just became an emergency episode of Twit, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that I'm here. Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, I had a feeling something would be like happening. I don't know why.
I knew something was coming, but it was one of three things, and two of them were unrelated, but I had faith.
Oh, yeah. That's what that suit is called. Okay, I really like that suit.
Yeah, I use it as my profile pic occasionally.
You fucking take a look.
And like we're getting Ryuki content again?
Oh my God, Rin Arc. That's my boyfriend, Oja, fucking Delta Hirobi!
Yeah!
Whoa!
Oh! And others! Oh my God, do you think that that's code? Do you think that's a reference to Metsubo Jinrai and Vulcan Valkyrie others?
Maybe. Yeah,
Oh,
others definitely. Actually, no, definitely. Especially if it's Takahashi written.
If Hirobi is coming back, then why would the rest of Metsubo Shinrai not come back?
They can't get the actors, but like, well, I don't. Like, what will be the story reason? That I'm curious.
The real question is, what is the length of this going to be? Because the last couple Gem specials were just like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 12 minutes.
Maybe it'll be like a multi-part thing where like each part focuses on like a different like sect.
I'm going to expect a 12-minute special and be satisfied with that, and then wait another 6 months, and they'll go, here's another one, and I'll say thank you.
No, I kind of want more of like those, because it's like 4-season crossover. I kind of want more just like wacky shit like this, where it's like multiple like unrelated.
It's exactly what Toei Tokusatsu Network should be, is just whatever actors want to come back, let's do more stories with these characters.
Yeah,
good call. Oh my god.
I'm guessing this is the Kaiksa Day special because of all the Fies content. It's nice to see the Delta suit in HD. And like, maybe... Okay, this is like, now we have the second best Delta user because it's like Smart Lady from the Get 'Em special, but it's not the Smart Lady from Fies. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sorry this happened, but this is like the second episode in a row to happen on this podcast, because we recorded like a 1 a.m. podcast once, and it did
I'm so happy with how this went.
Yeah, I don't know.
Holy shit! Oh my god! We're back, baby.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Boygo. We were just nerding out over the new.
No. You guys just got Infinity War. That's fine.
It's my old brand, man. I appreciate it.
You guys got that's a Tokusatsu Infinity War. It's like,
I just got canonized like last week. This is great. This is the first crossover where I've been a part of the universe.
How soon until you make a video on the Gen specials?
Yeah.
Well, I covered the first two in the Guy movie.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're gonna have to do a total retrospective.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I really want to talk about just my emotional journey going through the wait of 6 months between episodes.
Yeah. Even like a quickie like on these like on Outsiders, because I like even then like since it's not just covering 0-1, it's covering like a bunch of others. You can like give your takes on those. So.
Well, my big thing is I do plan on revisiting 0-1 from a lot of different perspectives. My next planned video for it is going to be a basically the same idea, but like an hour-long-ish breakdown of Hirobi.
Good thing he's in this special.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect timing. Yeah. Jesus. I swear to God, he reads my blog. So that lines up perfectly. I'm sorry, I'm very overwhelmed.
John Toei is a big fan.
Oh my god.
John Toei knew we were recording this podcast, and he was like, yo, let's get these nerds some shit to shit about.
Well, the thing is, I do know that there are Toei staff that followed my Facebook page, so like they know the work that I put in. Like, I actually had Guy doing April Fool's pranks long before the April Fool's Guy special ever became a thing. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I have a feeling there's a lot of Toei people that would love, like the people who make the shows and do all that kind of stuff would love to have more of an interaction with an American fan base. But just because it's not being released here, it's like they can't really interact as much.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I got Jay West on Cameo. Like, clearly they want to interact with us. Absolutely, yeah. I think
there's that. Wasn't there that one time, like a producer or a writer for Kamen Rider came to an American con,
and he was multiple times.
But like, no, there was one time specifically.
Urobuchi went to Anime Expo.
He was not there for Kamen Rider. He was there for being Urobuchi. You fucking know that.
He got asked Kamen Rider questions because that was while Gaim was airing.
Yeah, he wrote the final episode of Gaim on a plane.
But you know what I'm saying. No, but like, who directly said, "Oh, there's a lot of Kamen Rider fans here. I don't know how you guys watch it." Wink, wink, kind of thing.
Shirokuro one, yeah.
Shirokuro. No, I think that was like it was Shirokuro, but it was also I think Kanzaki. Kanzaki. We was at Japan World Heroes one year,
Oh, I only saw the tweet. Sorry.
No, it's fine. The
There are similar
Shirakura stuff
situations.
was more about toy leaks than like actual. Yeah.
But like they know that people want to watch it, and they know that people do with piracy.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is
And
it?
yet they drag their feet on
Jeremy-
bringing it to the States.
Yeah, no
Jeremy
simulcast for Geats, even though we're getting the toys over here.
I think Karame Silver is doing a lot of video work in English so that he can try to like sort of bridge that gap, and I think that that's really awesome of him.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Karame Silver. I'm like 99.9% sure on that, but I know it needs to be 1,000. I've seen a lot of him going around and like just genuinely both trying to practice his English and trying to be more inclusive of the international audience, and I think that that's really great. But I also understand that's a huge ask, you know.
Yeah, there's a fucking bridge and barrier somewhere in just the corporate structure of Toei. It just makes it weird.
Yeah, I mean, it took forever to get for Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball to get like simulcasted. It wasn't until like the tournament, one of the first like the episode 70, I think it did.
Only just now getting an Adventure 2020 dub.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, like the subtitle was simulcasted, but you'd think a dub would get into production sooner.
I think maybe the only problem with that is the original cast might have been like an issue, but
Yeah, well, I mean, they recasted everyone anyway, so
yeah, that's you know what I mean.
yeah.
But like, there's also, I hate to put it this way, there's no big person to champion tokusatsu in America, you know,
Yeah.
or the English speaking world.
I mean, we have her now. Her name is Iron Mouse, but
Yes.
her fans like are very weird about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like see like a lot of like Iron Mouse fans like talk about like Kamen Rider. I just see them.
No,
talk about
it's
Iron
no,
Mouse.
that's the weird hobby Iron Mouse has, and it makes her cute and adorable.
Yeah.
He tweeted about Geats, and everyone in the comments was just like, "Nah, who cares?"
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like anime has like big influencers and major celebrities talk about anime.
Yeah.
Like Robin Williams was an anime fan.
Evangelion.
And a Goku fan.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, he's an anime fan, but you don't know that much that he's a Toku fan, and it's just like there's a weird.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, this might be like overstretching it, but I also do think it like the discussion of getting Toku more into international audiences also probably can do with like subtitled films. Like getting into like just foreign films, getting it. You know, like if those can be successful,
I
then
actually
like
have a really funny story about that. I was looking at the remake of Enter the Fat Dragon on Amazon because I want to buy a copy of it because it's a great movie. And all of the reviews are so low because they're like, I thought this had a dub, you know?
oh,
Like the concept of subtitles has just broken this audience for a
Yeah.
Chinese movie.
Would
where half
imagine
the
like,
dialogue is in English, and also Edith from Ghost is there.
but like Jesus, I'm just thinking like American audiences just really need to get over fucking subtitles. Because American dominance and culture is very distinctly waning. One of the most important talked about movies of this year is RRR.
yeah,
right.
and that's like a Tulgarian film.
You know, but that's what I'm saying. Is like American dominance in cinema and TV and all these different things is going to go away, and more people. Squid Games,
Yeah,
RRR, Shin Godzilla.
yeah. Like I've seen like other people like excited for Shin Ultraman just based on Shin Godzilla's hype. So
I want to watch it so bad.
yeah, and even then you see like anime films like get more money at the box office. Dragon Ball Super Superhero, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. Those those are becoming more like box office winners and stuff. Now, if
It's just like American audiences need to get over their subtitle fear because there is not enough money in some of these productions to give a full English dub.
Yeah, 1000.
It's funny. Westerns actually went through a very similar period in the late 80s, early 90s, where they just sort of died as a genre, and America had to figure out a new solution real fast because, like, they had just lost their big, reliable cash cow. And
Yep.
that's when we started seeing, like, the rise of the summer blockbuster. And suddenly there was this, like, huge influx of, like, Asian cinema and, like, French cinema because everybody was really fucking bored all the time. And I feel like now we're 20 years into that summer blockbuster emphasis,
We're
And,
40 years if we're going by the 80s.
Yeah. Or even 70s if you want to count Jaws.
I mean, Star Wars was technically the first blockbuster.
I thought Jaws was.
Well, they're both 70s.
Okay. Well, which year of the 70s?
I'm
was
saying
70.
the 90s we saw the sort of boom of like Roland Emmerich and Michael Bay coming into the forefront and sort of dominating theaters summer after summer.
Yeah. And now we're dealing with people misunderstanding what the MCU truly is, because it's not just meant to be like, oh, these are the blockbusters, these are the movies I need to watch every summer, and realize, these are just a bunch of characters that if I'm interested in a movie, I can go watch it.
Well, like, even then, like, they're marketed as those. You gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah,
that's
because,
what it might...
because every film production wants their movie to be the biggest fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
It's that cinematic universe wave that everybody's been trying to ride for a million years.
And everyone keeps saying
cinematic universe wave that didn't actually happen, because Marvel was the only one that got off the ground.
No, there's a second one that got off the ground, and you know it.
Monsterverse?
Yeah.
That was one movie.
Legends, buddy.
I mean, I guess Kong Skull
Oh,
Island...
I'm sorry. I got that mixed up with the fucking Dark Universe.
No.
Why did you...
No, it was the Legends. It was the Legend Monsterverse, and you want to know why it worked? Because it's based off a property that's already a cinematic universe.
True, that's true. It was good.
And also, it's just like, it was simple. They didn't overcomplicate. They didn't have all these plans. They're just like, here is a Kong movie. Here is a mid-Godzilla movie.
I want to point out a pre-existing foreign cinematic universe.
Oh yeah. Like, people,
not even our own content is what we're ripping off at this point.
But here's the thing, like, everyone gave Marvel all these kudos of like, oh, cool, cinematic universe. And like, even Marvel fans were like, yeah, no, cinematic universe. It's like, sure. Are we forgetting the Universal horror monsters back in the fucking day?
Yeah.
They were a universe.
Yeah, technically, it's just like, everyone thinks universe means overarching story and lore and characters, but like, no, it's just, you make movies and they occasionally connect.
I see it more as like, you have a roster of actors who are playing characters, and you go like, oh, we should tell this story. All right, who can we plug in here? Blop, 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 blop.
Wonder one could work. Yeah.
You know, like, look at Thunderbolts. Hey, we want to do a Thunderbolts movie. All right, who should we put in here? I know, we could put this guy in here, and we could put this guy in here. We could put Bucky, Ghost,
Bucky O'Hare.
Guardian.
Just felt like being an asshole. Sorry.
90s Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Just freaking Bucky O'Hare out of nowhere.
I mean, he was published by Marvel.
He was, yeah. You get Mask Rider in there. You get.
You watch Transformers and G.I. Joe are going to be in Phase 15.
Yeah.
But Hasbro gives up making a non-existent universe that they keep saying they're gonna make, but it just...
But in Phase 10, we're gonna get aliens and predators.
Phase 15, we finally get that Godzilla vs. Avengers movie.
I can't wait for the The Space Knight Disney Plus show.
See, I actually would be really interested in that. Like, if they got like Noah Hawley, who did Legion, which I thought was fantastic, to do it, I think they could really go nuts with it.
Yeah, man.
Give me more genre pieces. Werewolf by Night looks so fucking good.
Here's the thing. I think they are going to do more of those, especially because now that they have to deal with... Because here's the thing. They've went through the A and B tier characters. The only characters that are bigger than that they have left is the X-Men.
And they're not touching them for a while, so...
I mean, they have hinted at stuff so far.
Yeah, they have hinted, but just they said, we're not making an X-Men movie until, like, 2 decades.
It's a big red button. All right, things are waning. All right, announce the casting for Wolverine.
Yeah.
But
I'm just that we didn't see any... What?
I'm really surprised that we didn't get the FF cast today.
I'm not too plussed about it. I'm fine.
I mean, now I'm more pissed because now I have to see more Twitter stupid fan casts on my meme, not my memes, my timelines.
John Krasinski's just going to be on your timeline for a while.
God,
The darkest
I'm so sick of that dude.
I hope they don't actually go with him just to piss people off.
Yeah, to piss and make me happy, please.
Still Chicklets in there as Reed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want John Krasinski as Reed Richards as a universal, like from the Council of Reeds. I want him to be one of the dickhead Reeds.
Give me John Krasinski as the Thing, and people say like incredulous things to him, and he looks at the camera and goes, "Bruh."
I mean, he would. The thing would look at the camera in a fucking sitcom. That's his role.
I hope if they do have the Council of Reeds in a movie, they use that as an opportunity to sneak in the two other actors who have played Reed.
I say, like, have fun with it. Fantastic Four is like the ultimate breeding ground.
Who played Reed?
It's like you could do any Ultra Q shit you want in there, you know?
Yeah.
Do anything. Literally do anything. Not do anything like just do a fucking, blue laser out of the sky or whatever. I'm saying do anything. Give me Denliner backgrounds, like give me the icicle planet from fucking Revenge of Belial. Like give me something really fucking far out there and trippy and cool.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
We just need the world that understands genre fiction to the point where we can just go like, all right, cool. You understand all this stuff? Sweet. Can we actually deal with the fun, weird shit now and not just have to explain everything to you?
Exactly. Now that they have constructed the archetype of the superhero, now you deconstruct it.
Or like play around with it,
Well, that's what we found.
Deconstruction doesn't necessarily always mean break it apart and say this stuff sucks. It's basically you take apart what it is and look at each part and ask, why are you?
Exactly. It's like Kamen Rider ZAIA. It's not show us stuff bad. It's hey, say good stuff good and sometimes problematic, and let's take a look at why.
Like Gurren Lagann deconstruction of mecha, but it's not it's not saying mecha is bad or all this stuff is evil. It's taking apart the tropes and ideas of mecha and super robot and all that kind of stuff and ask, okay, this is a part of the storytelling of these stories. Why? Why are we using this for the story? And then answering that question with the story.
Right. What does this represent, and is that good or bad? Like it's a report card of a genre, and I think that that's the coolest use of art.
Yeah, like Evangelion and Gurren Lagann start from the same point of what is mecha? Why is mecha? Why do we tell these stories? And Evangelion goes the route of it is a representation of human negative emotions and all these other elements and how we're fighting against them, and we close ourselves off in these giant suits of armor, so on and so on and so forth. Acknowledgement of violence, all these kind of things. And Gurren Lagann looks at mecha and says, oh, hey, this is humankind forging ourselves, making ourselves bigger and stronger to fight an uncaring world so we can be the caring for that world.
And adding on to that, I think that what makes both of those specific works so interesting is that they're by the same dude and they take such completely polar opposite approaches, but they still resolve with the same conclusion, which is that as long as you have
I think it's the same studio, it's different creatives. I think some creatives overlap, but it's not like the director.
Hideaki Anno was the head of Eva, and I think one of the animators on Evangelion went on to direct Gurren Lagann.
Yeah. That's okay.
My mistake.
It's fine. Like we all get those little.
Never mind that.
Johnny Young Bosch was in Infinity Train for the longest time, but it was apparently just someone named Johnny Young.
Okay, my biscuit. My point remains ultimately the same between these two works. They take completely opposite approaches, but they still end up with that idea that it isn't the idea that you should isolate yourself from the world because it's scary. It's that you should embrace that sometimes the world is scary, but for the most part it's not, especially if you surround yourself with the brighter elements of it. And that's Ultraman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a wide variety of things. And most people just say, oh, this takes thing and says it's bad, it's deconstruction. No.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people
It might be a deconstruction, but that doesn't make it a deconstruction.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Brightburn, not a deconstruction.
No. That's why I tend to call those super stories bad Superman. It's just I want to take this thing but make it bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's valid. That's correct.
Talk. Do you have anything to say? Say words.
I agree. Look, I wasn't lying when I posted that screen cap of Vice and said this is how I feel when Tim starts talking sometimes.
Look, sometimes you just gotta intellectually babble a few moments about the construction of art and culture and how everything works.
I feel like that happens every other episode in this podcast, though.
I can't help but I'm fucking neurodivergent.
All right. You're being ableist, Vac. Come on.
Okay.
I guess
this is a twit longer for Vac.
All right, I'm gonna do that right now. You can't.
Don't you fucking dare!
I just have to call out Vac, and in the twit longer it just says Vac stinky.
This just turned into.
Let me do that right now. I'm doing it right now.
No, what's fascinating to me though is when franchises, like long-running franchises, decide to use one of their versions to deconstruct themselves. Like the Kamen Rider's done it several times.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was just thinking, Digimon Tamers.
Oh, Digimon Tamers is so good.
It's fantastic and a perfect example. Yeah,
because it looks at Digimon and asks why, and you go like, oh, because it's fun friends and togetherness, and then goes like, oh, fighting. Oh, that's kind of fucking scary.
Their skin peels off when they transform.
I was thinking of something else relating to Tamers. That was like, that was a bit yikes in the way it tried to deconstruct it.
Are you talking about the
neglected and turned into a monster by society?
It was this audio play that was.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh no, nope.
Yeah, no.
What audio play?
Yeah.
The audio play that everyone forgot a week after it fucking got announced.
Chiaki Kanaka who?
Yeah.
Digimon Tamers was written by Guillemon. That's who wrote it, right?
That's the Digimon Hatsune Miku.
It was all just a Takako fanfic.
He
watched seasons 1 and 2, and he was like, "I'm gonna be one too."
I can't it does suck when a creator who's like well respected, especially someone who's kind of undefined, or like I remember I think Shiaki Konaka wrote a bunch of early Heisei Ultraman from Tiga to Ibius. Yeah, he had, but he also wrote episodes in between Tiga, Dyna, and it's he was very big into those. But so it's just kind of a shame to see that name has not aged well in those credits, you know.
Yeah, it's like a reverse reverse fucking Takashi Miike for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love Blaine. It's a big loss, but we have Ergo Proxy, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, I we can all understand that people change. The person that they were when they made the good art is not the person they are now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the mindset I have to take when I look back and examine Frank Miller work.
Yeah.
Before the year 2000, Frank Miller was one man. After it, he's a different person called Crazy Frank.
Yeah.
Turned into Dave Sim eventually. The Earthworm Jim guy too. What's going on?
Oh, fuck him! Jesus Christ!
The Silver guy of all people, the most milquetoast dude in the world.
You know what fucking sucks? I read one of his indie books, unrelated to Cat Scratch or Earthworm Jim or anything, and I loved it. It was a beautiful little fucking piece about religion and coming to terms with religious trauma and all that kind of stuff. And then I read all of his things. It's oh no, that whole thing was just fucking Christian propaganda. All right.
Yeah, right. It's the first time that I tried reading Fables.
Yeah.
I picked up the one where Snow White lectures some lady on why she can't get abortions, and I was like, oh.
Wait, what?
That's one of those American horny comics, isn't it?
No, it's a detective reimagining. Detective with the biggest air quotes. They tried doing a parlor scene in Volume 1, and it's genuinely one of the most pathetic attempts I've ever seen.
Some people cannot write fucking mysteries.
Really, like
Like
I
me.
won't go on a tangent, but it's like a bunch of mythological fable creatures all live in this little like city and have like.
Didn't they do like a Telltale game about it?
The Telltale game is good.
It's so good. Nicole Martinez, if you are out there listening to this for some reason, you spun gold from shit. You are an incredible writer. Sorry, I have a lot of affection for The Wolf Among Us.
The Wolf Among Us is so good. I love that game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're making a sequel, and I'm like, it's a cool idea to make more, but like the timing was so weird because it was like a year or like half a year after Telltale closed, and I'm like,
honestly, it's kind of like a boon for the point and click adventure video game scene that kind of Telltale lost some of its luster.
yeah.
Like they burst onto the scene wicked hard, but then they didn't really have anywhere to go with it from there. And the more licensed stuff that they kept getting, the more they cut up their audience, you know? Like the Batman audience doesn't want to play with the Minecraft Stories audience, you know?
But it's also just like they overextended themselves and all that kind of stuff. But I would say the adventure game scene in video games is in a much healthier place after Telltale.
I agree, absolutely. Their influence is pretty insurmountable, I guess. No, it can't be understated. Overstated. Can't be overstated.
Because they did bring eyes back onto a genre that hadn't had any for a long time, and now we're getting a brand new Monkey Island. We're getting we had Droopsy, we had Oxenfree, we had so on and so on and so forth.
It really was a great time for it because there was that sudden shift onto consoles for like a decade and a half with like the PlayStation, the N64 and stuff when it became more of like an adult hobby as well. So like being able to jump onto that, you know, a generation or two later, I think that was a really important moment in genre transition, as you're saying. Like, especially now that we're seeing everybody sort of gravitate back towards PCs and stuff because the modern console fiascos.
Even the Switch, I think Switch is kind of squeaky clean of a lot of the fiasco-isms.
Sort of. There's contentious
issues. It has its own fiascos, but it doesn't have the fiascos of like the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Well, like the Switch also has like the Joy-Cons.
I
mean, what I was more thinking about was like the online connectivity of the Xbox One fiasco.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more like software and business stuff with Nintendo that's setting people off. Yeah, I think that's valid. I just mean like generally though, like we're seeing more of a shift back to PC gaming lately, and like I think that's good, and I think that's incredibly healthy for the evolution further of adventure games, like you're saying. You know, like we saw stuff like Amnesia and you know, all the Dear Esther and stuff that were also helping to progress all of that. And that's all coalescing into this nice, cool new genre with like stuff like Remnants of R'lyeh is coming out soon. That looks really great.
There was that time loop one involving like an ancient Roman city.
Oh, Eternal Darkness?
No, it was a recent one.
Oh, okay.
There's also City? Maybe, I don't know. There's also like experiments in the adventure game genre. Like there's a game I played a little bit ago that I absolutely adored. It was just a simple little platformer, but it was mostly like a point and click adventure kind of vibe. Piku Niku.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But the other good thing is that it's reinstilled people's like nostalgia for older ones. So like I was able to get all the old Sherlock Holmes FMV ones where you have to like write stuff down in a notebook to keep track of it, you know, and that's a fun experience.
Yeah, and like I've just been playing it's called The Forgotten City. That's the game I was thinking of.
Nice.
But I've been playing through the 2021 remake of Myst.
Oh, cool. A classic.
I've been fucking enjoying the hell out of it. It's so it's a specific area of like vaporwavy liminal space.
Yeah, it's very ambient, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Very immersive. You can get completely lost in it.
I lost my save in one version of it, so I had to get it in a different place, and then I just speed run what I did.
Oh, jeez.
Get back to it.
That happened to me with Wonderlands. I picked that up, and I got all the way to endgame. I was like 4 away from like max cap, and save got 8. So I started up a new one. I got like halfway through the campaign, save got 8. So I was like, you know what? I could just uninstall this and play Borderlands 2. So I did that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, PC gaming is making the bigger headway. And I think a lot of it is like, there's been a large discussion and conversation about accessibility in video games.
Yes.
I think PC gaming just was like, not necessarily the nail in the coffin, but more of like the immediate easy solution.
Exactly. Like everything about the PC experience is customizable, so it makes sense that would lend itself easily to accessibility options.
And if there isn't an accessibility option, well, there's probably some modder who goes like, all right, here's a red, green, color blind filter for the game.
Right. And again, credit to Nintendo. They've been kind of killing it on that sort of front lately. And
Yeah,
I think
like on
part
Switch, you can go into the options and like remap all the buttons to like all the it just in the Switch menu system, which makes that will affect every game, which basically means every game has different button mapping. You know.
And like building onto the accessibility, like Nintendo's throwing their money behind like queer employees and stuff. Like they're really going for it. I don't mean to undermine them by lumping them in with the other consoles this generation. I just mean to imply that there's a general generational shift towards PC gaming.
Yeah, but also like in Splatoon 3, there's no gendered option. You just pick your hairstyle and your eyes, and that's it.
Like a body vibe, right?
Yeah,
it's those don't have gender.
Yeah, like squids and octolings don't have gender. They're just fellas.
Yeah.
I like what Boingo said there. We should move away from calling it gender, and we should just call it a body vibe.
Yeah, valid.
I mean, hey, if we ever make a merch store, we're not gonna say men's shirt or women's shirt. It's gonna be a squared shirt and a tapered shirt.
Hey,
you know, it just makes more sense. It's more descriptive of the product.
1000% it is. Oh, we've been going for a while.
Conversations happen, bud.
Yeah, they do.
It's almost like bringing in a new person brings in a lot of potential to talk about shit.
Who knew?
Yeah.
I mean, we've also just been rambling on and on about fucking critical analysis and theory of literature.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I kind of wanted that to happen. Like, I knew you and Tim would be a good mix. That's why I like pushed for this as soon as I got Tim on Twit.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. Yeah.
Hey,
I have stacks of film books sitting right next to me.
The only film book I have is the Scott the Woz archive book.
Oh, nice!
I got it from one of the charity drives.
I used to have 1001 movies you need to watch before you die, but like I knackered that copy of that book. I got it from Disney, MGM, Universal.
Oh yeah,
MGM Studios.
Like in France?
No, in America.
Oh,
back when it was called MGM.
Oh yeah, I think they still have an MGM in France. I don't know.
I think it's MGM in France and.
But France is nowhere in the universe.
Because it's Disneyland, Disney World, Disney Paris, then Disney Seas, and then Disney Hong Kong? Shanghai? Can't remember. One of those two.
I think it's Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I know there is a Disney in Hong Kong.
Well, I mean, if y'all need recommendations, Introduction to Japanese Horror Film by friend of the channel, Dr. Colette Balmain, is pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. I need to go back and watch some fucking old J-horror shit because I've been wanting to watch Tetsuo the Iron Man for a long while. I just haven't gotten to it.
I was gonna say I have like a whole index here of movies from like 1898 to like 1949 if you need recommendations.
No, I think that's also just a weird thing with like genre fiction and not wanting to dive deeper into the implications. Mm-hmm. You know, because like you can talk to like I wouldn't say it's an overall trend, but there is like, imagine a person who watches only horror movies and then try and talk about the deeper implications of Freddy Krueger. And they go like, no, he's Freddy Krueger. He just stabs people, you know? And not dive deeper into there's a heavy implication of rape and shit, you know?
Yeah, I think that a lot of horror fans don't seem to be deep thinkers on that level.
I mean, I think that horror tends to be one of the most provoking,
aggressive.
genres. When it comes to that sort of topic, because there's so much that you can do with it, and you can do so much of it on a budget that it makes it very accessible to people who normally wouldn't be granted chances. We all know about how Nakayama was blacklisted before Kamen Rider 01 for being openly queer. And I think that that's where the more interesting discussions tend to happen is in genre pieces within genre pieces, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm just more lamenting again, you have to also realize I'm a big Marvel Comics fan and I read heavy into these stories and these characters and everything. And then you just hear people go on about like, oh, Captain America is a right-wing asshole, and I just go like, don't fucking understand this shit.
Yeah, no, he quit when Nixon entered office. Like
that's the whole point of Nomad.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point of Nomad and US Agent. Like, come on, one of those is on the show.
Yeah, but like, I mean, Nomad was in Infinity War.
Oh, was he?
Technically.
Ah.
He was like he was supposed to be Nomad in spirit. Yeah,
in costume.
Okay, I got you. I was like, did I blink?
Yeah, but that's the big thing is like there's elements, and yeah, a lot of it's been sanded off in the MCU, but there are a lot of elements that are like interesting and transgressive about Marvel Comics that get overlooked a lot. Similar thing with DC Comics. DC gets it all the time. It's just like, oh yeah, Superman, he's a baby blue Boy Scout with the Reagan administration. No, he's an immigrant Moses allegory who is a socialist.
Yeah, Superman's real power is that he could just crush the earth with every step that he takes, but because of his upbringing, he chooses not to.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Right. He could punch your face off, but he doesn't. And that's cool. He'll take a bullet and he'll just shrug it off and pretend to be dead, and then Lois Lane walks away and he goes whoop at the camera, like he's just a goofball. But he's a great goofball. He's the goofball you want in your corner. He's the best. He's fucking Superman. Come on. Shut up.
Yeah, but you can bring up the X-Men and like the variety of understanding and miscritique and like back and forth on these characters and going like, well, some of the first ones were just a bunch of white kids playing minority, and you go like, well, that's true, but you also got to recognize Cyclops is a disability. He can't control it. It's a disability, The X-Men isn't about minorities. X-Men is about intersectionality.
Right.
Although I do think like it was probably like, and conceptually it was probably like something about minorities, but like you could read it as intersectional.
No, but what I'm saying is like at the beginning, Stanley didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He just wanted an easy origin for the characters. It's like, fucking mutants, whatever.
Yeah,
Chris
Claremont, the alien.
Yeah, Chris Claremont came in and was like, no, we can do something with this. So that's why you kind of have to like, the people who made the X-Men is Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Chris Claremont. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I've got the whole Essentials line on my shelf over here.
But like, Rogue is
we have like Kitty Pryde calling her dance instructor Stevie the N-word because she didn't take the word mutie seriously as a racial slur, and it's like that's when the white aspects come in. But I appreciate what it was going for, and I think that it made it accessible to a white audience in a way that works that had come prior really never did.
Yeah. But right now, if you read the X-Men, it is very much about intersectionality. It's not about being a mutant is oppression. It's being a mutant is just another fucking thing that all these people have to deal with. Storm has to deal with being black and a mutant.
And I think that that's part of the growth, of the conversation as the real world political zeitgeist has shifted and the conversation has changed. It's not white people having the conversation anymore. It's a diverse, multiracial, often queer, occasionally neurodivergent community that's having this discussion, and that means that we get to see these more nuanced and varied approaches to the same concept, and I think that that's great. That's what I love about tokusatsu every year is you hit the reset button and you do it all over again, but completely different.
Yeah, that's the beauty of genre fiction, is you get to tell these weird outlandish stories rooted in human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations everyone. I think we solved media analysis as a medium.
We solved video games. We saved video games.
The solution,
I didn't say a
everyone just has
goddamn
to be
thing
smart.
about video games, you fucking zoomer.
Yeah, we did. Just play on PC. That fixes it.
Yeah.
Let's fix on PC.
I was making a B mask
tired of
reference,
it.
Mac. I thought you would appreciate that.
All right, so Buster, where can people find your shitty memes?
On twitter.com/BusterBully3. I recently got lost a competition, but who cares? Because we still have video essays over at the Buster Corp YouTube channel where I talk about whatever. Kamen Rider 5's video might be up now? Like, depending on what... Yeah, it'll probably be up now because Kaitsune would have passed. Alright. Shill your stuff, Boingo.
Or no, Tim, where can people find your good memes?
You can find me at Adamatsu Janaito on Twitter or on YouTube at ZAIA Enterprise America. That's official. That's canon. I am the CEO, and everybody loves me.
Excellent. Boingo, where can people find your non-existent memes?
Hi. You can find me in a variety of places on the internet. Twitch.tv/Boingo Rider. I stream there on a regular basis, and if you want to see my schedule for the week as it comes out, you can always follow me on Twitter at Boingo_Rider. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at that same handle. You can also find me on YouTube, where I make a variety of content, video essays, video editorials of a variety of sorts and things at Boingo Rider.
And I'm the Vacuuminator. I do stuff, youtube.com/thevacuuminator, at thevacuuminator, at _Vacuuminator. And we're all a part of Modular Media. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe. And follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media and join the subreddit r/Modular Media in order to keep up with everything we do here, like this show, like This Week in Tokusatsu, like the No Prize podcast, and other things probably maybe someday. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with all of us this week, and I hope you'll join us back here